Ladies and gentlemen, cease and desist. Legal battles and patent infringements are a consistent issue in technology. We've known this for some time. I don't think you can go a week now without someone countersuing one another, particularly in the smartphone space. However, right now AMD and Gigabyte are being directly impacted from way up the supply chain, specifically Cooler Master. So AMD's R9 Fury X and Gigabyte's GTX 980 WaterForce are being the, I guess you could say, victim of a cease and desist letter, all because of Cooler Master. Back in 2014, Asetek pursued legal action against not just Cooler Master but several other companies, including Coolit and AVC, because Asetek stated that they had infringed its patent design incorporating a single liquid cooling pump with a cold plate in just a single unit. Now, there are a myriad of different Cooler Master units which actually feature this same design, including the Selden 120V, the 120V Plus, the Neptune 140XL, bunch of others, right? They don't exactly roll off the tongue, those names, do they? But anyway, so this infringement went through the courts, and essentially they were actually granted royalty of 14.5% to begin with from all CPU liquid cooling devices, which I just mentioned above, plus a few others, and then it went up to 25%, which is a lot of money. A lot of money. And that was after Cooler Master had demanded a judgment as a matter of law and a new trial. So, oops, probably they shouldn't have done that, right? But now the issue goes down the supply chain, because unfortunately for both AMD and Gigabyte, they chose to feature coolers which essentially are powered by Cooler Master, which obviously isn't particularly good. Asetek sent the following statement, and this was to gamingnexus.net. Our attorneys have recently sent cease and desist letters. I love the phrase cease and desist. It's not really ambiguous, is it? You not only have to cease what you're doing, you have to desist from it in the future as well. But anyway, demanding that it stop selling the Gigabyte GeForce GTX 980 WaterForce, sold under the model number, really lengthy, unwieldy number here, because it contains the Seedon 120M found in the court to infringe our patents. And our attorneys have also written a cease and desist letter to AMD, demanding it stop selling the Radeon R9 Fury X because it also infringes our patents. And that's not all. The company are still evaluating various other liquid cooling devices, particularly in Gigabyte's lineup of graphics cards, and this includes the 980 Ti Extreme Gaming. Oh dear, these names. They're so cheesy but so great at the same time. Anyway, it gets even more confusing. Well, not confusing, but it gets more complicated. AMD and Asetek have actually had a relationship previously. They were actually best buddies for some time with the R9 295X2. You might remember that that was also liquid cooled. And that was actually using one of their coolers, one of Asetek's coolers, and supposedly the relationship went all the way through to the internal testing with the Fiji lineup of cards, in other words the Furies. Now, we don't know why the relationship stopped, why AMD didn't go through with it. It's possible that it was a pricing thing. So, essentially, Cooler Master said, hey, we're going to undercut them, and that's why they did it. But obviously, I'm making an assumption. I don't know that for fact. If so, I imagine that probably didn't really please Asetek. In their defense, wouldn't you be a little pissed if you thought, well, not only does this company take my contract, or steal my contract, or steal is the wrong word, but outbid me in a contract, but they did it with a design which I created, and now I'm accusing them of stealing. That would probably piss you off just a smidgen, just a hair or two, right? Anyway, so what the hell does this mean? Well, for the moment, if this injunction lasts for some time, which is possible, that's obviously a really, really bad thing, because AMD have only just started to improve the supply of their graphics cards, of their flagship graphics cards. So it's a bit weird, because we've also got the dual lineup of cards coming out soon as well. So what happens with the dual Furies? It shouldn't theoretically be a big deal, because AMD could change the cooler in the card. I imagine it would be a massive big deal, but it's possible it would result in a little bit of redesign. It's a bit of a sticky situation, because they don't look like they want to just say, no, we're going to grant you a license. In fact, Cooler Master have stated that, Asetek have stated that they had sued Cooler Master. We have no licensing agreement with them, and we don't plan to offer one. In fact, they also stated that the judge also issued and entered an injunction prohibiting Cooler Master and CMI USA from importing or selling the accused products in the USA. And furthermore, they stated that those products which were listed, you can't just go ahead and make a slight tweak to them. So you can't just, for example, change a few washers or change the colour of them and reissue those products. No. You would have to radically alter their design for one which would not infringe on the patent. Now, the reason I find this rather funny is because obviously at the end of the day, this wasn't really the fault of Gigabyte. It's not the fault of AMD, but unfortunately, this is where these litigation, legal battles, and whatever other, phrasing you want to use actually goes, because essentially it can be any of your suppliers, and remember, it could be, for the sake of argument, memory. Like, one company sues another memory company over technologies that it's claiming that it pioneered, or it could be, for the sake of argument, in this case, cooling. Dozens of other different things which essentially can impact your products, and smartphones, this is no different. Even Nintendo have been quite frequently impacted by litigation, whether it's controllers or operating systems or God knows what else. And it's going to be, I think it's going to become more and more commonplace, to be honest with you. So, if you're going to buy a Fury X, I suggest you do it now. And the same thing goes, of course, for the WaterForce, because prices could potentially skyrocket. In this case, it's bad for AMD, it's bad for Gigabyte, and it sucks balls for customers. Us, in this case. But I guess it really comes down to, did Cooler Master intentionally follow the design? Because sometimes, obviously, yes, it was intentional. It was obviously, intent was there to say, yep, we're going to rip this design off because it works and it's, it's all shiny. But other times, I think it's just kind of like, if you've got a team of engineers, and if you've got a couple of teams that are engineers, and you give a team of people a problem, and you give them roughly the same budget, you give them roughly the same tools, you give them roughly the same, I guess you could say, specifications of what it needs. So you tell them the same type of problem, you tell them it has to be roughly this size, you tell them it has to be produced for roughly this cost, and you tell them they have this long to do the project, you're going to get instances where two companies are going at it roughly the same time. So for the sake of argument, you get company A and B, but company A are just slightly in front of company B. They're the one that filed the patent. Company B come to it a couple of weeks later, and guess what? It's just how it is, unfortunately, and it's going to become more and more commonplace. And I think we're going to get quite a few of them in the next couple of years, once again, with new memory technologies coming out, and everyone's favourite, virtual reality. But with all that said, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.